your boy Bleed. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on? Welcome to the Bleed's Crypto Show. Whoops. Sound was off. Great morning. Great morning for me to just have everything go wrong as the morning. But shirt on, although still no AC. But that's okay because it's only 60 degrees outside. So it feels great finally in the studio. So much so that we have a hoodie on. So hope you guys are having a great morning. We got some new stuff in the back here. I got a new intro, but I was working on it all morning long, still not finished yet. Once I started doing it, it started taking forever to get some of the assets working. I had some ideas that I thought were kind of familiar that I would do, and just none of it was working the right way. So then when I got it working and I got it figured out, I'm like, all right, this is going to be awesome. And I started doing it, and I got the message, oh, we're using a lot of processing power. Please come back later. So I tried. Tomorrow we'll have a spooky ooky video for the intro. And we got this sweet backer now for the Halloween season. So make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Let's break down what's going on in the market. The market is up just a little bit. The market is up just a little bit today, but it looks like the U.S. market is, treating it like a dick and sucking the liquidity out. Or not. It looks like the market just reversed. Dow Jones now in the positive. Dow Jones started off weak this morning, down about 50 points, up to 100 points, and now has reversed, and we're starting to see a little bit of a pump. There might be something happening right now. Let's check it out. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. First up, Kobayashi. Spot palladium price surges over 6% on the day as gold hits 4,000 an ounce and silver is at its highest level since 2011. The current run in precious metals will be studied for decades to come. Silver prices have exceeded 49 an ounce for the first time since 2011, now up 65%. And on Friday, we posted the below alert for our premium members. We raised our gold target once again to 4,000 ounces, just cashed in gains. This market is incredibly powerful if you eliminate the noise. All right, so what does that mean? That means that any moment now, it's going to start flipping over into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. It is now my estimation that we've got a little bit more to it. Also, altcoin season index went to 100 today. I'm not sure what that's all about. It's got to be broken. By the way, there's no way that it went to 100. There you go. Yeah. So something's broken in their system right now. And you can see right here on the chart. Let me remove the dark reader on that. You can see it. We had an altcoin season for a day or so. We zoom out and, look, what we want is we want this big thing over here. This is the last time we got a really, really good one. Those are the ones that we're looking for. Every once in a while, we get a peek into it, but we're not there yet. I'm telling you right now, it won't be, and it won't happen until Bitcoin absolutely blows up. We need that liquidity to go into Bitcoin so that it can then trickle back out. So really, we have zero bull market indicators hit right now, which means that we're still in HODL mode. The big thing right now is BSC. A lot of different BSC tokens starting to absolutely break out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to tell you exactly when we're going to hit $135,000 on Bitcoin. I'm going to give you the date. I'm going to tell you exactly which date, but we're not going to do it right now. We're going to do it in a few minutes. TerraCasino.io for your risk-based gaming needs, and Terraport.finance. if you're looking to trade any utility or meme coins in the Luna Classic ecosystem. Not a better place to go right now for trading. And in fact, I do keep, for those of you that don't watch my my Terra stream every single day, we track the dexes over here, so we know exactly where the volume comes from on every dex. Look at Terraport. Terraport just absolutely crushing it. $60,000 in trade volume yesterday. As a DEX. Now we want to get that up to about $1 million a day, obviously. For those of you that don't know, however, I have a project, terrapump.fun, and oh, and by the way, you can see my trade volume over there is only $54 yesterday, but the important part is it was better than my competitor. So that was a good thing. And if you want to create your own meme coin on the Luna Classic universe, you can go to terrapump.fun and make a meme coin. That's where the Believe meme coin came from, as a matter of fact. It was really just kind of a proof of concept there. So, but we're going to be talking about potentially a merger between Terrapump.fun and Terraport, so that front end is going to look a little bit more like Terraport, going to be more integrated. It'll, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think that Terraport be your one-stop shop for meme coins, utilities, and stuff like that. It'll still be, it'll still be different, but the same. It'll just look. It'll just look different. That's all. Matter of fact, let me show you what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like right now. I'm going to work on making this look a little bit more like terrapump.fun. Mine's already graduated, by the way, so it's not listed on there anymore. So there you have it. Let's move on here. Meme link, not sure what's going on, still dumping. DevEase making announcements. We're starting to see a little bit of an announcement. Let me also point out something really, really fascinating that came up yesterday. Austin Ramped, who is the chief communications officer for DevEase, says, I just created a simple dApp on the Dev network that allows you to create an account, mint a test token, and send that test token to another address. I have zero coding experience and used Grok. Here's how I did it and my experience. First, I fed Grok the dev app docs located here. I learned quickly that to get Grok to have the correct information, I needed to feed it individual pages so it could learn the API information. After doing that, I used this prompt. I would like you to help me code an app in the style of Web2 and to connect it to the Dev network using these API documents. I would like to create a simple app that allows people to mint and send test tokens rapidly to show the speed of the network, so people can click a button that allows a token to be minted, then can click another button to send those tokens to another wallet. This should have a simple UI, but also a wallet in it to show the tokens themselves. And it returned back to me a semi-functional app, but some things needed to be fixed because AI is never accurate in the first go. The first issue was the account registration. After analyzing the console errors, it was easily able to fix this. The second issue that we ran into was account authentication errors. It turns out that Grok read the API calls incorrectly and was mismatching some terms, which of course threw 404 errors when trying to call them. Finally was the transferring issue. After solving the other three, I kept banging my head with the account transfer. It continued to fail. Turns out that it was trying to send a token that was non-transferable, something that we used internally as a heartbeat token, but nothing that is public facing. It was also labeling a wallet as from in the code, which was being rejected. After asking it to add a few quality of life changes to the mix, it returned back to me a fully functional dApp that can create an account, mint a token, and then send that token to another address. And then feel free to go try it for yourself. And if you want to, then it's going to be over here at Blockbyte right there. So you'll be able to test this out if you are interested in that. But very fascinating that, and by the way, I think we should point out, we should recognize Austin, in his own words, is an ignoramus. We all are when it comes to coding, and had absolutely no background to call on to tell me whether I was on the right track or not. AI filled in a lot of the gaps. However, the simple API calls from the Dev network really did the rest. I might try and do something a little more complex in the future, but for my first pass, I'm pretty pleased with the results. So they're already out here doing it right now. So boom. Next up, Definity. Still haven't reached. I haven't had any communication with them, so we're just going to move on. I'm going to hold my bag for a while, see how it goes. But other than that, if something changes with Definity, I will let you know. Mantle up 11% on the day. COAI, Chain Opera AI, at $861 million market cap, up massively 20x on the week right now. Massive move, massive breakout. In Cheems, we've got 22%, AIA 28%, Useless up 35%, Form up 20%. We're not seeing the blow off that we were looking at earlier on BSC, starting to cool down after we see the breakout. So there's a lot of profit taking going along the way, but I think we're going to see BNB continue on. QRL up 36%, UDS up 64%. Boom, boom, boom. Lista up 40%. Giggle 13%, VVV 20%, XVS 10%, Palu, by the way, for those of you that don't know, Palu went absolutely, I mean, it went crazy. All right. If you guys did not see it and you missed it, that's okay. We all kind of missed it. And then, of course, people like Jake Kagan, shit like that, of course, they took credit for, I found this. Well, okay. So this is what happened over here. It went absolutely crazy. On the 4th, it was sitting at 0.0005 when it launched, and it's now at 9 cents right now. This was an incredible sort of breakout. Great opportunity. But now it's profit-taking time. All right. Now it's time. You're going to start seeing that come down because it's still a meme coin. And maybe you get a little bit off of it from CZ Binance and the close connection there, but I don't think so. Again, I think this thing has to retrace. We have to get some downside momentum. Speaking of downside momentum, where is Aster? Aster is still sitting there waiting for a breakout. However, what I told you yesterday still applies. Nothing has fundamentally changed. It looks like it's still waiting for an absolute breakout, but it's still minting higher lows as we go. And it's also, when you bring it down this way, doing the same thing, coming down this way. It is coming to that entry position, okay? It is not going up at this point. There's no new people stepping in. Aster is cooked right now. Bunch of people holding on to it, hoping for a reversal right now. And by the way, that doesn't mean that you won't get another test. That doesn't mean that you won't get a breakout. It just means that it's not likely that it's going to break out. And the reason for that is because guess what? Everybody's now moving over to Palu. They're moving over to all these other different meme tokens. They're moving into the BSC ecosystem. Aster the trading on Aster will continue, but very rapidly. You'll start to see people going back to Pancake Swap. You'll start to see people moving away, and it will die for a little while before it pumps again. I think that Aster probably $10. Like there's a real possibility that Aster goes to $10, but it will come down hard at some point. KGen down 35.9, Q down 42% on the day. And we've got some downward momentum, as a matter of fact, that we're going to talk about on some of these in just a few minutes. Back down to 60 on the Fear and Greed Index, hoping to get down into that 30 so that we can get a big pump and a big move back up. Bitcoin spot ETF, you're not going to believe this, 7,000 in buys, which was 875 million after a $1 billion day, the day after another $1 billion day. What is going on? People are continuing to buy Bitcoin. Now, remember, my buddy Ryo, came in the other day talking about Dr. Profit, saying that, everything's coming down. Is everything coming down? It's not coming down. It's consolidating at that top. And by the way, so is Aster, but Aster is different than Bitcoin, at least because I'm saying something right here, and I want you guys to recognize that, that Aster is not the same as Bitcoin, doesn't have the same pool of liquidity, doesn't have the same market, doesn't have the same everything, and doesn't have an ETF or anything like that. So we're going to see Bitcoin continue its rise. It's not done yet. But what about Ethereum? What happened over there? Oh, wow. A massive inflow for Ethereum, $421 million yesterday. Now, that is 7 days in a row of positive and big positive inflows. I think there's going to be a cool off period right here because that would seem to be a good profit region. But let's zoom out here just a little bit. Look at Ethereum over the last, since September, September 9, what is it? September 29. On September 29, we were sitting at right here. So, we've actually had a pretty good breakout. So you're going to expect some profit taking along the way here. But bouncing off of the 50, it looks like, maybe you're going to get this could be a breakout here on Ethereum right now. All right. We could be looking at that next leg up. Now, the problem with that is, remember I told you the other day on the 4-hour that we had broken out. So we've got a confirmed breakout. Well, guess what? The breakout didn't stick. This market's still trying to scalp each and every one of you. Look, guys, there's nothing that I can say more than look at these charts to find out how much institution hates you. They despise you. You disgust them in every single way. You might be saying to yourself, like, Believe, why would you be like that? Why would you be such an asshole? I'm not the asshole. I'm not the one stealing your money every day. It's the institution stealing your money every day. I mean, that's the way of the world, right? They're scalping you every single time you get in there. You're like, oh my God, Ethereum is going to the moon. You throw your money in and then they dump on you. And then because they got in earlier than you, because they had the extra capital and they had the wherewithal to pump the chart up so that it looks pretty good for you, then they trap you and they steal your money, and they've been doing it to you since the dawn of time. So the only way, Raoul Paul even says it, not like I don't follow Raoul Paul, but Raoul Paul says the only trading method that actually works is buy and hold. That's the method. Buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, and just hold on to it. If you did that when it was at $1,200 a few months ago, guess what? Feeling really good right now because you're up about 4x. If you did that with Bitcoin 2 years ago, you're up what, 10x right now? 8x. I want to say it's 8x. Yeah, about 8x. So all you have to do is just grab something that you're convicted, that you have conviction in, and just hold on to it and let it work for you. That's really all it takes. The only thing there is don't spend your money. Don't change your mind. Don't lose sight of the goal. And remember that the ones that are going to survive are the ones that are going to survive. Bitcoin will survive. Ethereum probably will survive. Solana probably will survive. XRP probably will survive. Chainlink probably will survive. Cardano, it's a stable coin. Obviously, it'll survive. USDT, USDC, of course, they're going to survive. There are plenty of them up there at the top that are going to survive. The rest of them, we start to break this down, like SHIB going to survive? Probably not. It's probably going to fall off the rails at some point soon. Dogecoin might survive for a little bit longer, but there's too much supply right now. We continue to mint new Doge, and the pool is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So when the market cap goes up, you're not going to see the profit that you saw before. At some point, people will give up on Doge. So, and there's a bunch of people that are trapped there at high prices that are still waiting to see, maybe I can get out, maybe I can make my money back and stuff like that. You won't. If you want something that, if you're looking for a meme coin that probably will survive, there's one for sure, Pengu. I think Pengu will survive because they were able to capitalize and monetize on real world assets early on. They created those Pengu plushies. They became like a top seller in markets. I mean, they were, it was really good. So something like that, as long as they don't misstep too bad along the way, they might be one to watch for a long-term growth period. The other one is going to be the Trump meme coin. And I know that the Trump meme coin right now doesn't look solid. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. I mean, it looks like Trump government, right? Silly and doesn't do shit. So, maybe you're going to get another lower entry opportunity. I mean, let's face it right now. The Donald Trump meme token could not be lower than it is or was in the last couple days. Okay. So you're going to have a spot in time here where this reverses. To me, this has got at least another 3 or 4 years of running as long as Donald Trump is alive. And of course, as long as Donald Trump is alive. And look, we can see that he looks like chewed bubblegum. We know that he's 80 years old, paints himself orange and dyes his hair. We know all those things, right? But ultimately, like any cockroach, they live through everything. So I would anticipate that Donald Trump, despite that hand thing that he's got going on, you know what I mean? Like whatever that fucking thing is, despite that hand thing and that weirdness, about him and people calling him stinky and, all of those different things. But despite all of that, I think that he's going to survive and be around for that 3 or 4 years, which means that the Trump meme coin, there will be a time when it just flips and then everybody wants to get back into it. and it's going to be because he did something. Now, I said before, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but the ETF approval for the Ethereum staking, which just happened on one of the ETFs, not all of them yet, but also Solana, XRP, all of these other ones that are happening. I think that those could be small catalysts, but also there's a Trump ETF. There's a Trump ETF. I don't remember who. I think it was Canary Capital that filed it. I always say that because they file the weird ones. But I think Canary Capital might have filed for a Trump ETF. So when we get close to that, you're probably going to see a big, crazy move right here. And then you're going to see the Clarity Act. When the Clarity Act passes, here's what's going to happen. When the Clarity Act passes, Donald Trump is going to go, he's going to take a victory lap. When he takes that victory lap, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get back in and say, you know what, Trump did it for me, bro. And they're going to throw money at the Trump meme coin in celebration. And then he's probably going to have a party to celebrate. And what he did last time was like the top 20 holders or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was the top 20 or top 25 or something like that. Holders got to have dinner with Donald Trump, which is why Justin Sun bought so many tokens. Well, I think the same thing is going to happen, that he's going to do like maybe the top 100 or the top 200 or something like that. Going to have an exclusive party for the biggest whales that are holding the Trump meme. He's going to create a frenzy for it, and you guys are going to benefit from that frenzy. It's just a matter of time. But I do think that the catalyst won't be now the ETFs. I think the catalyst, because by the way, when I said it was going to be the ETFs way back when, or that it could be the ETFs way back when, I gave them credit for getting the Clarity Act. Then I should realize it's Donald Trump said it, you know, like when he said 90 deals in 90 days and we have what, 3 in what, 9 months now? Jesus Christ, he could have had a baby. I mean, he's big enough to have a baby. We realize that, right? Anyway, I don't know how pregnant he is, but you know, I'm pretty sure Melania is not. You know what I mean? Her Adam's apple gives that away. You guys hate me, don't you? Because I don't shut up about it. Whatever. Anyway, so I think that I think that you're going to see the Trump meme token get absolutely parabolic at some point soon. I think they're going to find a way to create some more value for it at the right time, and then boom, going to absolutely take off. So bookmark, that's exactly right. Bookmark that Pengu thing, because I am interested. By the way, there is a Pengu game coming out, and because the game is childish and childlike and absolutely silly, it's going to attract it's going to attract people that, yeah, here we go. Oh, actually, it's already out. Son of a bitch. Pengu virtual pets. I think there's an MMO. Hold on one second here. Yeah, here we go. Pengu Lost and Wanted. And then you have Pengu Never Left, a simple, relaxing PC game replays a penguin living on tiny land and fishing. Yeah, so they've got multiple games, but there's an MMO coming out for Pengu that maybe it's not announced yet or something like that, but there was a lot of conversation about it. So if they target it towards like Roblox kids and shit like that, I mean, Pengu is going to be ubiquitous with video games and crypto for a long time to come. Bookmark that shit just in case. Just because he wants to be right, by the way. He wants to say, oh, it's going to dump. Pengu's going to dump. Okay, whatever. By the way, everything's going to dump. Spoiler alert. When we get outside of when we get outside of the let's call it the banana zone. When we get outside of the banana zone, guess what's going to happen? You're going to come back and you're going to draw down. Everything's going to draw down about 80 or 90%. Okay. And we're going to have scooping up opportunities to buy all of these other cryptos and get one more run at it. So, Ethereum, where is Ethereum going to go at the end of it? Well, I don't know where it ends up at the top, but if you were just to assume that it went to 12,000, then you would be looking at, like this. Fibonacci always works until it doesn't, right? Fibonacci tells us that most likely we're going to get a $12,000. If we get a $12,000 Ethereum, then it's coming back down to 3,670 at least, because it always does. So, right now, it doesn't really matter where everything goes. What matters is you taking profit at the top And then what matters is stacking that up when it comes back down. And we don't know exactly when that's going to be, but it will happen. Also, we've got Bitcoin ripping right now up 1%, and we've got BNB cooling off just a little bit. I don't know if that means that it's done with its rally, but it's got a lower top today. So you know what I mean? I'm not sure yet about this, then expect to see it cool off back down. Maybe right there, if the 618, look at this. Matter of fact, you can't ask for a more perfect setup. You got the top, if that is the top, and then you've got your retest area, which is right there, which actually comes to the 618. So if we get an opportunity, by the way, none of my longs got triggered, but in the event that we get an opportunity here, maybe, just maybe, we're going to pop into those BNBs and see what we can get out of that one. My Avalanche still not doing very well. Still not doing very well on this, as a matter of fact. But the active orders right here, we've got 285 for near. Current price is 299. Link, we got at 21.25. Current price is 22.28. Solana is at 22.22. Our buy order is set at 215. And for Bitcoin, it's 18,200. We're sitting at 122,592. And I am not going to chase it because most likely this could be, by the way, when we sort of look at it here right now, the same thesis that I gave you on Binance is probably the same thing. You know, like we're getting lower highs every time. We've got this downward trend right here, which means that we're bearish in the short term. So bearish in the short term generally means that we're probably going to see at least a correction back down to support levels. Support level looks to be 118.023 with a lot of volume traded in that range. Stands to reason that we're going to have a dump down into this range right here. In fact, if you're looking at it, it could be that we stop right there at 120,000. Now that I look at it from that context and kind of zoom out, there's a possibility of it going right there. But that's not where we want to take our risk. We want to take our risk and we want to YOLO this bitch all the way down to where we think that's going to get that bounce. 118,200 is going to be my spot. So we'll see what happens there. As far as the rest of it goes, let's look around here. Ethereum, we're not going to change our entry there. We're not going to change BNB again. I think BNB will set an entry right there at 1,018, maybe 1,080, somewhere in that 1,089. That might be a good one. Jupiter just announced a stable coin. Jupiter's not pumping right now. So Jupiter just announced its own stable coin with Athena. Let's do this. Let's go over to Margex. Let's see if we got Jupiter on here. Yep, we got Jupiter and we got only isolated. All right. So if we want to buy some Jupiter, we want to buy on market. Oh, we don't want to do that. We want to do, let's do 7X. All right. Wait. Let's do 5X because it's Jupiter. Now let's come down. So we're going to do 5X and we're going to do $200. 5X is going to be 1,000. Okay. So we're going to do $1,000. We're going to buy on market right now on Jupiter at this price. We got a deal open right now on Jupiter. Let's see if Jupiter pumps a little bit. So we get a nice little breakout on Jupiter. That could be a cutesy little win that we get just from out of nowhere. Our price right here, our open price was 44.94. Currently, we're sitting at 44.91. Came down just a tad off of that. Now it's a little bit over. Let's see if it doesn't jump up and it doesn't start to pump up to 47. Let's zoom out just a little bit. And let's get to the top of where Jupiter is. And that's going to be in that 56-cent range. Let's go to a daily chart to get a better idea of what's the top or where could be the top of Jupiter if that announcement holds. And that answer to me is going to be 56.52 cents. So we're going to add a closed limit order at 0.56. And we're going to confirm that. Okay. So We've got a take profit sitting at 56 cents just in case. Now, it could be that it goes quite a bit higher, but the other thing about Jupiter is, and to remember, all of the trading, um, um, all of the trading that's happening with Jupiter gets diluted when they give out, and every year they're giving out more tokens to people who are trading on their platform. So if they're trading on their platform, then there's going to be a dilution. At the beginning of last year, that's when we got our tokens over here. We had $1,000 worth basically for every wallet up to $1,000. I got a max wallet, and I sold mine immediately because I took the $1,000. But if they do that same thing again this year, and I'm not sure, by the way, if they're going to do that, but you're going to get a bigger share. But again, it's a kind of a dilution because you're going to just increase the shares of or you're going to increase the tokens that are out here in the market. So I'm not sure that, maybe it's a good move. Maybe it can get back up to 56 cents. 75 cents looks to me like that's a good spot, but it seems like a long way off from where it is right now. So let's hold on to it and let's see what happens with this stablecoin. If they get a nice little rip here off of the stablecoin, then we could see a fantastic breakout. All right, so XRP, we're not going to change that. We want that entry down here. We still want to be shrewd on it. $2.70 going to be the spot. Link at $22.11. Looking for it to come down just a little bit more to get me into that trade. Now, we're in between the 50 and the 200, so we're still bearish. We still bounced off of the 50. You got to break above that if you want to make something happen. The market, by the way, still kind of like it still feels soft. Okay, we broke down about $80 billion yesterday. We're up about $40 billion today. We had it was a bad day. We clawed back about half of it. Still not done. Again, if I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the impulse move and I'm looking at a Fibonacci, then that yellow line right there, that 50 MA right in this range right here, makes sense that you would come down and you would make a test of that over the next day or two, maybe 3 days. That would be a huge dump, but it would make sense to see that happen. Not sure that it will, but I'm also looking at the RSI, and the RSI is still pretty high right now in the overall market on the daily. So when you see that, and when you see it like that, that usually means that there's going to be some potential downside. We want to get that down to the 50 range, if you will. So, and then let's look at weekly, and let's see what it looks like on the weekly here. We just need that RSI to load, and I don't know why it's loading slow. Jesus Christ. And it is cooked. Okay, so the RSI right now is sitting at over 65. So we could get another breakout. We could get another run, but it likely needs to cool off just a little bit. That seems a little bit hot. When we get up into this range, typically we have more dump than we have pump. So this is also a pretty good spot right there. You can see there, right there. You can see right there. You can see right there. That's usually where we get a pretty significant downside movement. So, and by the way, we were up $40 billion a few minutes ago. It's down to $27 billion right now. So we could be seeing that. But hey, by the way, did you guys know that Devi is not pumping anymore? It will, but it's not right now. And the reason I say that it will is because DevStream is now up 10% on the day. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but somebody knows something, or somebody should have reason to know something, because you have this huge gap right now in trading. You've got a futures gap that just got broken out. And with that being the case, then that means it'll probably come back down to be filled, but it's trying to break out above the 50. If it breaks out above the 50, then you could see it start to make that run towards the 200 MA. And the reason for that to happen is because some investor out there knows something going on with DevStream. Now, that's just a thesis right now. I don't know that that is the case or not. I'm just saying that, when you see the parent company take off and you're not seeing the token take off, then to me, that means there's some insider somewhere who knows something in some company somehow, and they are starting to buy their bag of DevStream, okay? Or maybe somebody was given a big bag of DevStream. but that doesn't pump the price. You know what I mean? So I think that there's something to it, and we'll find out whether or not we're right. And it won't take that long, I don't think, before we start to see something happen. Now, again, the Devi price comes back down to the 50. We're still bearish. We had an opportunity for a break towards the upside, and it was thwarted by, I mean, look, at some point, Devi's going to take off. All right. So at some point, we're going to get that big run. But until we get confirmation of partnership of what's going on, nothing is going to pump this chart. Okay. And the reason for that is, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. In my opinion, the thrill of the potential for the launch and what I felt was just a little bit misleading. And by the way, it's not the team that did it. It was the general consensus and the general feeling of the community that once we broke away from, and remember over here, this is where, because, everybody was getting their monthly unlocks for like the first 6 months. The unlocks finally stopped, and then we had an opportunity to start pumping. Well, then the FOMO build started over the listing, and we were talking about, by the way, that it could be NASDAQ as far back as October, November of last year. And then that, of course, led to this massive spike, which, of course, was corresponding with an altcoin season that we had, a little mini season breaking out. But that was goodwill. That was goodwill that we were making our way up. It was looking like it was really good. And at any moment, we're going to have that announcement. Well, then we got kind of the wool pulled out from under us, or the rug pulled out from under us when they said, well, yeah, it's going to be like June or July. And then we thought, okay, so during the bull run, this is going to go crazy. And guess what? We didn't get that bull run. We didn't get that banana zone, right? So in the meantime, we had down, leading into June and July, which, of course, before we got to June or July, we were then told that it probably is going to happen later, and we don't know when. And everything that felt like it was coming up to a culmination dissipated immediately because nothing was happening. And then remember, Devi was going with what they called a monolithic approach, which was they were just going to put everything out all at once. And now they've started to do a fragmented approach where they're giving you some tools here and there as they start their build out to get ready for whatever it is to come next. And of course, they need their licensing. And we knew the licensing was an issue. We didn't know how long it was going to take. But again, we felt like it was going to be within the first 6 months of 2025. Didn't happen. Then we got to the third quarter of 2025. Then they delayed the roadmap. Then during the roadmap integration, we were told that we were going to have a public shard live, and we didn't get the public shard live. It's on testnet right now, but it's not live. And without that happening and not meeting the deadline, and it's now 8 days into October, and we still don't have a public shard that is live. It's still on the testnet. So whatever they had given us as what was going to happen didn't happen. Everything else, in my understanding, on that roadmap did happen. But when you fail on one piece and you don't deliver in time, investors leave. Investors leave. So whatever, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are just giving you basically, in my opinion, a generational buy opportunity. So, and I know, look, I've told you many times before, I would scoop up some Devi because it's going to go absolutely crazy. But you never know. You never know whether it will or it won't. But here again, all the goodwill for a pump has already been wasted on what did not happen. So unless you go out and find new investors, and they're not doing any marketing, I'll tell you guys what happened here for me. Just to kind of summarize here, I reached out to the team. They stopped partnering with me, which, I mean, whatever. Partner with me, don't partner with me, fine. But they didn't even tell me, which annoyed me. I reached out and I talked to Tom. I talked to but Davin, who was the original point of contact, didn't even reply to me. Just, I got ghosted, and that was the end of it. So then. And by the way, I still talk about them every day. I still make content, stuff like that. It was not about that. It was just, it left a bad taste in my mouth that they didn't bother to even say a word, right? And I said that publicly. I said, this bothers me that you don't even communicate with somebody, because effective communication should be step one for any business or in my opinion. So then that leads to I talked to Tom or something like that, and then he's like, reach out to Phil, because I thought about doing some kind of giveaway or something like that. So I reached out to Phil, who happens to be that guy. Well, Phil, I told him exactly what happened and why I was annoyed. And then I told Phil, you can read my content, you can do whatever you want with the content and look at it and come up, formulate your own opinion about what I did, what I said, et cetera, et cetera. And then Phil said, yeah, we can do a giveaway. Reach out to Elliot. So then I reached out to a guy named Elliot. Well, Elliot hasn't read my message after agreeing to a giveaway. If you guys remember, I told you guys I was trying to work on a giveaway with Devi. Okay. As of today, Elliot has left me unread and has not replied. Could he be busy? Sure. So am I. We're all busy. You know what I mean? So what did I get for my effort? Nothing. So that's 2. By the way, I do know that they're understaffed. So if it comes down to it, then it's really just a testament at this point that they don't have the staff right now to meet minor things. And again, like I said before, I don't think that the token is important until the exchange is launched. I think if you're properly prioritizing your business model with Dev, then nobody should they shouldn't even be worrying about the token price or the token in itself until they integrate it into the Dev chain, until they migrate everything over. Like it shouldn't even matter until then. And by then, everything is going to happen kind of all at once, if you will, for the announcement, the launch of the Dev exchange, et cetera, et cetera. So, I I don't know. Ryan Lee says, bring back Keanu Inu. The cease and desist was all a scam. It was not a scam. It was not a scam. I saw the cease and desist. God damn it, I can't remember what that guy's name was. What a piece of shit he ended up being. What was his name? The t-shirt maker. The guy that made the t-shirts. That fucking guy. Unbelievable. And I wasn't on the Keanu Inu team, by the way. So I don't have shit to do with it. So anyway, Devi down 1% on the day, but Dev's up 10% on the day. So I think something will happen, but again, you're not going to see much of a breakout until, they got to come through and they got to start doing things. And right now there's no marketing. By the way, I'm told that there's CMC marketing, but that's it. Like I don't see anything. There's no other marketing or anything like that. And again, it would be irresponsible of the team to waste funds, in my opinion, to waste funds on something like that. I mean, you could waste funds on me, you know what I mean? Because I want more tokens, but there's no reason for them to do very much right now. If everybody was to sell out, it doesn't change the fundamentals of the project. If everybody buys, it doesn't change the fundamentals of the project. Nothing changes it. The only thing that's going to happen here is that announcement of partnership. And when that happens, that's when the big deal starts. And then we find out, what they're made of at that point. That's when we see real marketing. That's when we see real knowledge. That's when we see real stuff happening. So that's basically what I'm waiting for. In the meantime, I'm left on red. So I guess we're not going to be doing the giveaway. Anyway, moving on. Exceller is now up to 8.5 million market cap. Again, having a nice little breakout off of that bottom. Boy, did I call that bottom right. Guys, if you got back in where I told you to get back in at 0.004, then guess what? You're now up 125, 150% off of that move. You are absolutely welcome. The question now is, can it break through this range right here? This range right here is at 1 to 1.2 cents. So the question will be, can it break above there? It would be my suggestion to you if you are back in Exceller, or if you have not taken your profit on the way. I would be looking at, when you get closer, look closer to this range right here. You look right there. That little wick right there seems to be resistance, like right in that spot right there. But if you get a little bit of a surge up into this range right here, I would be selling. Okay. I'm not saying that you wouldn't make a bunch of money and that there isn't a potential for it to go absolutely crazy, But I'm saying that if you're responsibly investing and you're protecting yourself and your stack, then the smart move here is to sell into this region right there. So if you don't, you do you. You do you. But that's the easy money. And then I would look for it to come back down from here, back down to like this range at 0.006. If they're minting a newer high and they're not just trapping people in, if it's actually legitimately new holders coming in, all of that. If that's happening, then guess what? Perfect opportunity. So I'll be watching out for Xceller to keep going. Blocky, I did a video with Blocky, did an interview with Roger. He is migrating everything over into Blocky right now. Blocky on a little bit of a pump. It's 100 and something percent since that bottom, but we'll see whether it holds up and whether it maintains. What we would be looking for, same thing over here, is you've got this area right there at 0.0003 right now, which is about a 50% increase from where we are right now. I would be looking at a rejection right there on that level, because that's been support. And then it never became resistance because we never got back up there, which means that it's going to be difficult in the climb to get to that region. So I would be looking at a full take profit right there in that 0.003 region and just see what happens at that. Well, you know what? Actually, I would say take a little bit off the table. If you got in early here, take a little bit off the table, see if you can't get a nice little rip or a nice little win off of that. So, but my opinion. Next week, I think they've got the NFT collection launching. So, and in the meantime, by the way, there are people who are selling their Rocky and Crocky tokens. They're selling them to Roger, who's then buying them off of the liquidity pool and then migrating them over into Blocky. So you'll see the liquidity continue to rise just a little bit over the next little while. And don't forget, Blocky has a video that Altcoin Daily did, which will end up being discovered. Remember, Blocky will have a moment here. It's only 100x to a 20 million market cap, and Blocky could take off at any point. So I think Roger, by the way, we had a good conversation. For those of you that didn't watch the video, I launched it at 8 o'clock this morning. I would recommend you go watch the video. What I was telling you guys since the beginning, what I was saying over and over again, actually, here's what happened. The bearings on the AC went out and they're being replaced. And I'm not going to have AC for a couple days, but it's only 60, 65 degrees outside right now. So it's not hot in here anymore. So it's actually comfortable. So it'll take a few days. By the way, they're replacing the bearing. And by the way, it's an old AC. So they have to rebuild it and reinstall the bearings unless they have a new motor, and they didn't have a new motor or new fan. My bad, fan. So he's going to rewire it, replace the bearings, and then bring it back. So it's going to be about 2 days, and they took it yesterday. So I still don't have AC, but not really worried about it. I know there's a kind of a deadline for it, something like that. So anyway, Blocky, I think, has a good opportunity for a breakout at some point. Again, Altcoin Daily, you're going to have to get listed on exchanges and stuff like that. And there's some real kind of viral stuff if you go watch the video that Roger has planned. Like, for example, he bought a Blocky head, had one created where he can run around looking like Blocky. I think he plans to go on like sporting events and stuff like that. Take the Blocky head to the Super Bowl, and you can't go into the Super Bowl with the Blocky head, but you could go into the parking lot and tailgate, or you could do that at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers games, stuff like that. Like, people will take a picture of Blocky walking around with that head wearing Tampa Bay gear or something like that. And there's a possibility something like that could go viral. You know what I mean? So, I think he wants to do that. So I would be betting that something will happen there. So for DEX volume, BSC is now taking over with 6 billion. And this time, I believe that the 6 billion is legitimate. I don't think it's bullshit like it was the last time. Solana, 5.5 billion, Ethereum, 4 billion, and Base, 2 billion, Arbitrum, 1 billion, SWI, 1 billion, Hyperliquid, 1 billion, Avalanche, 400 million. So you're starting to see Again, a big lift here. That's 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, $20 billion in DEX volumes or in chain volumes in the last 24 hours on the tops. Remember, when these were in the 3s and 4s, and some of these were at 500 million, like there's a lot of trade volume happening right now. You know what I mean? And then let's leave these things where they are. All right. So, and of course, Jupiter's breaking down instead of breaking up. They don't care about that dollar. They don't care about that dollar. Ugh. All right. Anyway, that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Share the content with as many people as you can. If you want to become a member of the channel, it's $4.99 a month. And if you want to talk about your favorite crypto, then you do that with a super chat. So we will talk to you guys again very, very soon. I'm going to go get that swole on and get my workout going. We'll talk to you again very, very soon.
I'm looking for the good life, good life.